Level 3, complete the square. I want you to make sure that you write down everything that I write down, even if you think it's extra and unnecessary. The goal is always to get this on one side alone. So move, if that number's there, move it to the other side so that you can have this number alone. And I want you to set it up with a blank. And we're going to do the same type of thing that we were doing before. How can you factor this with two factors, two binomials that are identical? And you were whipping these out yesterday. So when you look at it, you say, a lot of people would say, okay, well, -2 and -2 because they've got to add to get 4. But what do they multiply to get? And we are adding a 4 to this side. So if you add it to this side, you must add it to that side. What you should end up with are 2 perfect squares. You don't actually have to go further. This is our final answer for geometry. You don't have to go further. You could square root both sides and then solve it for the plus and minus value, but you don't have to. This is fine because that's going to get us to the ultimate goal of level 5. So if you look at this next question, it already has this alone. So just set it up where you put in plus a blank. And then think of what could you factor? X and X. People were saying, well, if it's 10, it's got to be 5 and 5. And if you need a positive 10, you need to add 2 5s together, 2 positive 5s. And what number must be in this spot would be 5 times 5 of 25. So you're adding that to the left side. You have to also add that to the right side. And what you should end up with is this factored squared. And 39 and 25 should make a perfect square. If you did these correctly, this number, and I've double checked all the worksheets, they really ought to be a perfect square. 16, 64, 81, something like that. If you look on this last one, we want to move that 15 to the other side because our goal is to get the x squared and the 16x alone plus a blank. Don't worry that it's -15. It's okay. Think about 2 parentheses. We probably did something like this yesterday. X and X. Add to get 16 that are identical. It'd have to be 8 and 8. They've got to add to get -16. So -8 and -8. What number do they multiply to get to complete the square, the trinomial? 64. You'd have to add 64 to that side and write it as one of those binomials squared. And the other side, 64 take away 15, I believe is 49. Perfect square.